Take a moment and go back to school. Do you remember when you had to give a book report, get up in front of the class, talk about a current event? Do you remember how a few minutes later your teacher hopefully would give a merciful evaluation that wouldn't elicit snickers from your classmates? And then later in high school or college, you were required to sign up for a public speaking class. And again, you cringed when the instructor gave their evaluation. Now you found that in Toastmasters, it's a more user-friendly environment. We judge, we evaluate each other, trying to become successful, trying to improve that public speaking skill. We learn together. Instead of a single person presiding over us in our studies, we take turns evaluating each other's speeches, guaranteeing a reciprocal and continuous learning experience. It stands to reason that the more effective we are in evaluating each other, the more we will profit from the experience, whether we are delivering a speech, evaluating, or sitting in the audience. For as audience members, we learn from a good example of what a good evaluation can be. There are 3 good points to having an effective evaluation. One is it provides immediate feedback. We often talk about Toastmasters being the learning laboratory, that we get feedback in real time. 2 is it offers methods for improvement. Sometimes when judging our own speaking performances, we cannot see the forest for the trees. Evaluators, however, give us a different perspective and help us recognize and help us solve difficulties that we encounter during our presentations. And third, these evaluations build and maintain self-esteem. As we learn how to play up our strong points as speakers and correct and modify our flaws, we can't help but feel better about ourselves. And the self-esteem we gain as our speaking skills improve benefit us not only as Toastmasters, but in other personal and professional relationships. When we join a Toastmasters club, we begin our program of self-improvement by giving an icebreaker speech, similar to what Joanna gave tonight as an introduction to the club. Next, we receive organized feedback and evaluation telling us how our behavior appears to others. This feedback also provides the basis for future modification. We then show our behavior again, receive additional information, and so on. The process continues as long as we follow the Toastmasters educational program. Evaluators have the power to influence, but they should never be given total credit or responsibility for a person's subsequent speaking performance. Instead, consider the evaluator a catalyst for change. If you are signed up to serve in the capacity of evaluator, your job will be to provide the speaker with information that can be used to adjust and fine-tune the person's speaking performance. But whether the speaker takes your advice and acts upon it is up to the speaker. The most common evaluation method used in Toastmasters Club is called the tell and sell approach. This approach requires the evaluator to do all the talking while the speaker listens. Perhaps the most obvious advantage of the tell and sell approach is its efficiency. It doesn't create an opportunity for conversational digressions to occur. An opinion is given within a space of a few minutes, and then the meeting continues. Speakers also benefit from the tell and sell evaluations. Rather than it being expected to formulate a verbal response, the speaker is allowed to focus on what is being said. Any comments that the speaker may have toward the evaluator regarding the evaluation can wait until the meeting is adjourned. Since this method assumes that the evaluator's assessment will be on target, new members are usually not scheduled to evaluate until they have given several speeches and are familiar with club procedures. The tell and sell method works best, in fact, when the evaluator has had more speaking experience than the speaker and is considered something of an authority figure. Giving an evaluation is an excellent way to demonstrate the skills you are learning as a Toastmaster. Here are 5 basic points to remember when offering that anxiously awaited evaluation. 1, show that you are interested. What is your main objective as an evaluator? To help the speaker. So first and foremost, you have to demonstrate that you are truly interested in both the speech as well as the speaker's need to grow and improve. The focus is no longer on your own delivery skills. As evaluator, your emphasis will be to concentrate on the other person. There's no denying that an evaluation given with style and wit is not entertaining. But to shift the spotlight away from the speaker onto yourself does not help in improving the speaker's skills. Remember, your challenge is to point out both the strengths and weaknesses of the speech you've just heard in a helpful, encouraging, and sincere manner that will motivate the speaker to return to the lectern. Number 2, consider the speaker's objectives. Being able to evaluate a speech that was delivered only a few minutes ago calls for organization and preparation. As a part of your evaluator's homework, contact the speaker in advance to review and discuss the manual objectives and its guidelines and ask any concerns regarding the speech or the speaker's speaking abilities. Just as the individual Toastmaster is the most important part of Toastmasters International, so should you take into consideration the individual needs, goals, sensitivities, and level of experience of the speaker when preparing to evaluate. If you don't know them, be sure to learn about them before hearing the speech. Also, pay attention to the speaker's goals for self-improvement and watch for any symptoms of fear or insecurity. Besides providing an opportunity to offer some words of reassurance, this will further prepare you to give a listener-friendly evaluation by the time of the meeting. Number 3, personalize your language. Put yourself in the position of the speaker. The speaker has just spent days, even weeks, researching, writing, practicing the speech. Now, after bearing heart and soul to the club audience, it's the evaluator's turn to approach the lectern. As the speaker's heart accelerates, anxiously waiting to hear words of praise and encouragement, the following phrases assault the speaker's eardrums. You didn't. You should have. You failed to do this. Enough. Heavy indictments may belong in a court of law, but they have no place in an evaluation at a Toastmasters meeting. There's a big difference between words of encouragement in an evaluation and handing down sentences as a judge. Instead of issuing blanket statements, think about your purpose as an evaluator: to stimulate improvement. And consider using the following phrases. I believe. My reaction was. I suggest that to you. Remember, your job is to describe the effects the speech had on you. This is not the time to appoint yourself spokesman for other members of the club. Keep this evaluator's mantra in mind when forming your evaluation. What I saw, what I heard, what I felt. And you'll maximize your skills as an evaluator. Number 4, evaluate the speech, not the person. While sticks and stones can definitely break bones, words also can hurt as well as provoke emotional responses from the person who has just given the speech. As an evaluator, always keep your main purpose in mind: to support, help, and encourage the speaker. More specifically, this means being careful not to impart your value system on someone else's thoughts and opinions. Instead, the evaluator is supposed to help the speaker in communicating their ideas and opinions. Likewise, any commentary needs to focus on the speaker's delivery rather than the speaker as a person. This assures all Toastmasters of a comfortable club atmosphere that allows members to grow and learn without being judged on a personal level. Remember, evaluate what the speaker does, not what the speaker is. And 5, promote self-esteem. As evaluator, you must do your best, not just to listen, take a few notes, give your opinion, and sit down, but to encourage and inspire the speaker to participate again. This involves giving honest and sincere praise, positive reinforcement when improvements occur, and helpful direction when necessary. Always end your evaluation on an upbeat note. When self-esteem is allowed to flourish, the individual feels accomplished, accepted, and motivated to continue. Sometimes, in attempting to build positive feelings, we give evaluation which choose only to praise the speaker. This may flatter at first, but over the long run, this will demoralize a club. Our purpose, after all, is to receive insight from others so that we might gradually improve our own speaking performances. Honest evaluations can and should be upbeat and encouraging, while still pointing out areas for improvement. Such evaluations, in fact, are an integral part of every Toastmasters meeting. When preparing to evaluate, remember that an evaluation consisting of nothing but empty compliments and platitudes benefits no one. So resist the impulse, no matter how tempting, to cover flaws with flattery and save the BS for other things. I gave a speech, it was probably my 5th or 6th speech in Toastmasters. And the evaluator said, "Rick, that's the best speech I ever heard." How was I ever to move forward and feel like, how can I improve? I've gotten to the mountaintop, and there's no other place to go. I can retire now. So, evaluations offer one of the most important learning tools within the Toastmasters experience. When assigned to evaluate, we are not only given the opportunity to polish our own skills as speakers, but also to assist others in attaining their own specific goals. We owe it to ourselves, to those we evaluate, and to all members present to provide an experience which will be positive, constructive, and informative. In other words, something that will help our club members become the speakers we want to be. Mr. Toastmaster.